Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to Generation X Nation. Before we get started, as always, thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel, who has liked the video, who has left a comment. I definitely appreciate it. And you guys know I always get back to you. Okay. Now, with that being said, help me reach my goal. I need about 3 or 4 more subscribers to hit my 500. All right. Now, before we get started on this Real Housewives review, I just want to say, as my disclaimer, as always, everything I say is alleged in my opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. All right. So this particular episode begins with everybody's getting up from that horrible dinner the night before. They're coming down to eat breakfast, getting dressed and whatnot. And Shamia's on the phone with her sister once again complaining. Her accommodations are just terrible and she is unhappy. Pinky's on the phone with her husband, calling Angela Bigfoot and how they got into an argument. These women thrive on chaos to me. Pinky and Kelly and Shamia is doing way too much on this trip. And I don't know who gave y'all the playbook of how this housewife stuff goes, but y'all are losing at this game right now. It's not a good look. I'm not saying you don't have fans out there who like you, but my God, you are coming off or edited to look really bad. Because again, I understand these shows are edited. We don't get to see the whole scenes, but what they are showing just doesn't look good. All right. Now, of course, Cynthia does put the girls off in 2 groups before they take off on their trip. So as the ladies are all sitting down talking to each other, waiting for everybody to gather together, somebody mentions that Pinky was, a little bit too rah. And Kay Michelle was like, no, she's just a little passionate. She's not aggressive. She's passionate about certain things and she likes to make sure that her friends are taken care of. But they do show some past episodes of Pinky being rah. And I said, wow, all of a sudden, Kelly's her friend. The same Kelly on the very first episode said that Pinky left her on red when she DM'd her. But now they're best friends. Okay. Kay says she means well. Well, I guess her and Kay can understand each other because according to them, they both belong to the Divine Nine and they are Divine Nine and they are in the same sorority. All right. Apparently Angela missed the dress code because Angela came down with something totally different. Everybody had on something that looked a little like cowboy, cowgirlish. Kelly was the last one to come down. But it didn't look, Angela was like, wait a minute, I didn't get the memo. Angela, you in the house with them. You didn't know you coming to Dallas. You didn't bring a cowboy hat and some jeans at the bare minimum. But everybody looked good. Kay came down. She was happy her glam was done. But I find that weird because Kay, you was down there eating breakfast with no glam on. And they was taking their little pictures and of course freaking frat looking good. So everybody looked good. Cynthia strategically placed these women on separate excursions. She had Phaedra and Portia and Kay Michelle and Angela in one excursion. They were going to see the horses do what they call the dressage or dressage, some type, the horse show thing that Phaedra said that she did in college. She was competitive at it. And she really did know what she was talking about. And then the other ladies was going to see the cattle herding down there in Fort Worth at the stockyards. Okay. So they get in their cars, but Cynthia says specifically, I need to bring me a backup. So I'm taking Drew with me. But she had Kelly, Pinky, and Shamia. And I think in a sense, they might have felt a certain type of way because it felt like the OGs, Angela's not OG, but she's on her second season and she's well liked. And then they threw K Michelle in there because K Michelle been around, reality TV for a while. And I think they felt kind of left out. It's not that. Cynthia has some words she need to say to y'all. Cynthia wanted to make sure that y'all understood the assignment. So Cynthia started having a convo with the lady, and then again Kelly comes out. The place was just filthy. And then Shamia's like, it wasn't clean, and I just could not live in there. And then Cynthia's like, hey, I said I was going to get it fixed, and you guys, kept complaining about it. I said it's going to be handled. And then Cynthia said, y'all are talking too much about this room, and she was getting tired of it. And then Pinky came down, she said, y'all sent Pinky down to the dinner all upset and rah rah because y'all kept complaining. And Pinky didn't even know that I had been working on getting this fix and all of that. It was just weird. But anyway, Kelly just kept saying, you know what, I mean, I need my accommodations to be comfortable, and if I'm in a place, I needed to be afforded the comfortability that I'm used to. Kelly, you were just doing too much. And then Shamia was just sitting there. And then Pinky was tuning in. And then Cynthia turned into 50 Cent and said, if y'all don't like it, you can leave. This is not a hostage situation. And I was like, there you go. There go 50 Cent. You finally said it. And then Kelly still tried to say something else. And then she said, and then Drew came in and said, hey, you got a good night's sleep. You look beautiful, beautiful. Everybody's good. Let's just start the day over. And then Kelly still wanted to be negative, negative Nancy. Debbie Downers. Well, I mean, you look like an alien. And then Drew was like, she said, you look like the alien in your, I didn't ask you nothing. You look like the alien in your movie. And then Drew said, okay, Miss Proportion. I'm like, Kelly, where did that come from? She did not dish you. She gave you a compliment. She said, hey, it was a rough beginning. You guys look beautiful today. Let's just enjoy the day. And instead of you saying, you know what, Drew, you right, you went into, you look like an alien in the alien in your movie. So when she called back and said Miss Proportioned or whatever she called you, we cool with that, Drew. Because that was uncalled for. I don't know what it is about Pinky, Shamia, and Kelly, but y'all do not want anything to go right. It seemed like y'all just set to ruin the trip. I get what Cynthia said. Cynthia finally said, this room discussion is closed. I'm done with it. You know, meanwhile, the other ladies in the car having a good time. You know what I'm saying? They in there laughing and joking and, having shots on their way to the horse show. Y'all still over here talking about a freaking room. So then they asked Drew, I think K Michelle, about the whole black thing. K Michelle went on to explain how she knew black. That's Drew's alleged boyfriend or a guy Drew likes. And she said, hey, I would be cooking on social media. He would get in my comments, he DM'd me, and he kind of liked my backside. That's basically what it was. She said, I just didn't appreciate Drew insinuating that I had something going with black. I am a married man, and you don't do that to me, and I have a husband. She said, my husband is basically different from your husband. Don't do that to me. You do that to your husband, but don't do that to my husband. That's kind of what Kay Michelle was saying. And I get that. Okay. So the ladies finally go to the cattle call. They watched the cattle go by. They was a little late. It didn't last that long. And all of a sudden, Pinky said, there go Angela. And Drew was like, hey, don't do that. See, there you go, Pinky. This is what we talk about. Angela's not even there, but she living rent free in your head. You still mad about the decision, the conversation from last night, but you act like you miss energy and you're over it. No, you're not. You're still talking about it. Meanwhile, Angela and them over there having a good time. They over at the little horse show, the dressage or whatever they call it. The ladies demonstrating how to, ride the horse. They're giving them the VIP treatment, even gave them a fan to fan themselves. But what are you doing over here at the cattle call, calling her calling the horse Angela? You know, I'm like, this is what we be talking about. So then after that, they go back to the ladies at the stockyard. They're over there with the Longhorns. They call them the Longhorn cows. And they're taking photos with them. And because at first they were kind of looking like, oh, I don't know. But then they got up there and got comfortable. They started taking pictures, all kind of pictures and posing everything. And then here come Pinky. Well, I'm a vegan. We know, Pinky. You've told us that at least 50 times since the show been on. We know you're a vegan. She said, I'm a vegan. I'm not going to get on that animal. What do you get on that animal have to do with you being a vegan? So vegans don't own dogs. Vegans don't go nowhere near horse. They don't ride. Vegans don't ride horses. Y'all don't do anything with animals at all. I understand you don't eat animal meat, but you don't even go get near animal. You being a vegan was the reason why you didn't get up on the longhorn steer and take a picture. That made no sense to me. But thanks for letting us know you're a vegan for the 100th time. We get it. So then they go back to the ladies over there at the horse show. So now they're inside drinking this Italian wine. Phaedra flirting with the guy that's actually serving the wine, say she like Italian men's, and then they show the flashback to her and Chi Chi or whatever that guy named Cha Cha, whatever. And the ladies kind of at first kind of like, ooh, we're gonna drink wine in a barn and it smells a certain way. But I think as time went on, they started enjoying themselves and they, let that go that they was sitting there with horses drinking wine. But it was just the ambiance that they tried to set up for y'all. And it was like you kind of didn't appreciate it. They were just trying to create a good experience. So I kind of felt like y'all should have just went along with it and let it go. Because this lady flew Cynthia out there. And now that she looked back on the show, y'all was being really negative about the whole experience that they set up for you guys down there in Texas. And it was really kind of rude. Then after that, the ladies go to eat at a restaurant, the ones down there at the cattle call. Once again, Pinky, well, I'm a vegan. Good looking out, Cynthia. Look, Pinky, and I'm going to say this. Pinky, did you want Cynthia to just go find a vegan restaurant and everybody go eat vegan just for you? You're going to tell me, and I get it, respect the fact that she don't eat meat, but that restaurant had to have garden salads on there, French fries on there, fried mushrooms, just different things that you could eat. Now, I live in Texas. I know what's on these menus. You can go to a regular restaurant and find a plethora of stuff that is vegan. They will give you a whole veggie thing. You can get like corn and string beans and all that in one on one plate. So stop playing in our face. You was just complaining once again to complain, but you keep acting like you about energy. What energy are you about, Pinky? Because I don't see this energy. So Pinky's Cynthia said, hey, you should have brought some snacks. This Texas, honey. They eat meat down here. She right. Do your research. You should have known that. However, here's what I know. Pinky either had a pop-up shop or an actual restaurant, but she came to downtown Dallas, the slutty vegan, and was serving her food here. So you have been to Texas before. Don't play in our faces. I know for sure. Specifically, Pinky has been to Texas, and I can't remember if she opened up a slutty vegan here or she did a pop-up shop. I didn't go because the line was around the corner, but you know what they do in Texas, and you know what the meat look like around here. So stop acting like this is new to you. It's not. Okay? So then the ladies start talking about Drew and Shamia had the same blood type. She said, hey, if I need some blood, I could just call Shamia. So then they decided, hey, this is cool. What do you need from me? Once again, an apology. She gets up to do the apology. And then Drew said, I'm cool with that. But just make sure next time you keep your mom out of the situation. And then all of a sudden, that's too much for Shamia. Are you going to talk about my mother? Never mind. Cynthia had to sit both of them down. She didn't talk about your mother. She said, let us two handle this and leave your mother out. But Shamia had to make it a thing because that's usually what she do. And then Kelly had to throw in her comments. Kelly is always commenting on something, you know? So again, Kelly just likes chaos. Pinky likes chaos. And Shamia likes stirring it all up. I don't know what these three ladies' problems are, but as additions to the show, y'all are failing. And I know Shamia, you on your second full-time season. Kelly, you on your second full-time season. Pinky, you knew. But I think if I was a betting person, one of y'all three ain't coming back next season. I can guarantee you that. Okay, so then after that, Portia was sitting there commenting on the horse's hair. She was talking about, oh, there's some good hair. You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about what she could do with the gold naked hair and all of that. So, the ladies are over there just having a great time drinking a wine, talking about the horses. They're getting past the smell, enjoying themselves. Meanwhile, Cynthia over here trying to gather these ladies. And she said, Cynthia, she asked Pinky about Angela, like, what was going on with you and Angela? The energy was off. And then she said, I went away and I came back and y'all going back and forth. And then they go Pinky once again. I ain't worried about Angela. Angela ain't even in my tax bracket. How you know, Pinky? You and Kelly talk a lot of crap for two people who going through bankruptcies, behind on rent, getting sued and all of that. Y'all talk a lot of crap about other people's money. If I had the financial problems that you guys are going through, my mouth would be sealed shut talking about anybody else's money. The audacity of y'all to constantly make that a thing. All right. Again, Kelly had to comment about something about the rent or whatever, and she started talking about Portia. Why are you bringing Portia up? And then she said, well, Portia was saying something that wasn't true, and I don't think that was right. And then she talking about me sleeping with somebody's husband. But we got to remember how Kelly came into the show. And I will not forget when you came into Sterling's Manor in Shamia house and sat your behind on that couch with Kenya and Portia and the rest of them sitting there, and you look Portia dead in the face and said, why you take that woman's husband? And now you have an issue with Portia talking about you and somebody's husband. The audacity, once again, the lack of self awareness that Pinky and Kelly has is just beyond me. It's really beyond me. So, Pinky, Cynthia was telling Pinky, hey, I think he was a little aggressive. You know what I'm saying? And she said, you came in there going off. You didn't know the backstory. You didn't give me a chance to let you know I had talked to them. You didn't even have all the pieces of the puzzle, and you were just going off. And then, of course, Pinky, well, I said this because, whatever, I'm protecting my friends and all this. And she said, you know what? Let's be clear. And then Cynthia said, oh, it's cleared. And then Pinky kept going on. And I'm like, like Pinky, are you getting what Cynthia's throwing? Are you picking up what Cynthia's throwing down? She's telling you, I'm done talking about it. It is clear. Don't let me turn into 50 Cent again like I had to do in that limo. But you kept pushing it. And I don't see that many people push Cynthia to the brinks. But Cynthia is done with these women. And I think Cynthia is probably at the point in her brain, I'm not even going to try to forge a friendship with any of them. I'm just going to ride this season out. I'm over it because she is. So then Drew was telling her, well, you know what you get? You do get a little aggressive. Cynthia saying, yes, you take the conversation what direction you want to go, and then you shut it down when you feel like shutting it down. You don't let other people say anything. They don't get to speak their piece or get their, say whatever part they want to say. You decide when the conversation's over. And then Drew said, yeah, sometimes it does sound a little sounds a little aggressive, Pinky. And then Pinky said, I am strong. I am this. I am that. Don't call me aggressive. As a black woman, girl, stop. You are aggressive. Let's just let it go. You are aggressive. Don't use that black card. You are aggressive. And hopefully you're watching these seasons. And again, it could be editing, but they can't edit what you don't do, Pinky. If you looking at this show right now and saying that you was not aggressive in these last 2 episodes, you lack self-awareness, the audacity. That's all I'm going to say. Yes, you are aggressive. And y'all need to stop with this. Every time somebody tell a black woman or a woman or anybody they're aggressive, don't say that. Don't call a black woman aggressive. Well, at the end of the day, some people are aggressive. And Pinky, you are very aggressive. I don't get where you thinking that you're not. So Cynthia made a comment about, Pinky is the energy police, always talking about energy, and she don't even see the energy that she displays. And she is right, because all Pinky talks about is energy, energy, energy. I'm over it. I'm over it. Pinky, don't know you from a can of worms. But the way you are edited on this show right now is not in your favor. That's all I'm saying. Kelly, we can live with it without you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sick of Kelly. Kelly is just Shamia's minion. Pull Kelly out of the equation and then let's see what Shamia do. Because then Shamia is going to have to be forced to interact with other people. I'm just saying. Pull Kelly out the equation. You want to keep Shamia another season? Pull Kelly out. See how Shamia operates then. Because she's going to be forced to do some things that she don't want to do. Now, with that being said, everybody gets back to the house. As the ladies are riding back, Portia and them in there playing her song Flatline. K. Michelle playing Portia's song Flatline. They laughing, having a good time. Portia ain't taking nothing offensive. She said, "Hey, I still get my $15 checks for them for these songs." That's what we like to see. The girls having fun, throwing a little shade, having conversations. That's what we like to see. Y'all drained poor Cynthia out. Cynthia ain't no spring chicken no more. Cynthia came back, laid down in that bed. She still had her boots on. She was like, these ninjas and wore my last nerve. It was like monitoring children all day to me. Cynthia, God bless you, because you really was monitoring children all day. So Shamia and Kelly go in their room. It's clean. You know, they jumping on the beds, twerking, dancing, just like children. Literally acting like children. So Drew knocks on the door, kind of wakes Cynthia up, and they're having a hard conversation. And this is where I like Drew. And I would say this about Drew. It's something about Drew, this particular episode or the last couple of episodes. Drew is absolutely gorgeous. She looked so pretty when she came down to breakfast that morning with that little, I think it was a green or turquoise, like a green thing she had on in Cynthia's room. She looked great at breakfast. Drew, I don't know who's been doing your makeup and your hair, but you looked absolutely gorgeous when you came in there. She said, "Oh, I just changed and freshen up." And they sitting there having a conversation. And this is the most serious I've seen Drew in a while. Because usually Drew's kind of, she'll talk a little back and forth, but Drew knowing that, like Kenya's not here, Candy's not here, she got to step up a little bit and help carry the season. And she's having a really serious conversation with Cynthia, and she was like, you know, I don't understand. There's got to be something more than just her mad at the room, and they're saying there's something more is going on. Shamia, in my opinion, doesn't like how it's turning out for her on the show because I think she thought she would be more of a fan favorite. I think she regrets destroying her relationship with Portia because she see how everybody's still drawn to Portia and not so much to her. And I think she's realizing I'm being maybe shut out just a little bit. I should have kept my mouth shut and contained my relationship with Portia. But you sat on that little interview with Kelly talking crap like you always do, and went on all these interviews throwing these subliminal messages about Portia. And Portia really never said too much nasty about you. She just said Shamia know what she did and left it at that. You allowed this show to break up your relationship since y'all was like teenagers, and that should have never happened. Um, Drew said she thinks something else is going on with Shamia, and she's covering it up by doing all the dancing and twerking. And she went to dancing on Cynthia, talking about shout o'clock and all that. I think so too. I always say when she talks to her husband Gerald, it seems like he's checked out. He don't want to be on the show. He's doing the show because she wants to be on the show. I think Gerald was okay with her being a friend of the show because it didn't require her to film a lot. But I think Gerald, in some instance, doesn't want to be full time on the show. And I'm gonna tell you my why. And this is all alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Based on my experience, watching the way Gerald operates, watching how Gerald is always gone for work and not wanting to be on the show. I'm not saying Gerald may have a little thing on the side, but I think whatever he got going on the side, or whoever allegedly Gerald may have on the side, he don't want that person to feel a type of way watching him and Shamia film all the time. Because he'll come into a scene, but if you notice, Gerald doesn't show a lot of affection, emotions. He don't be hugging her, kissing her. He just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. The only time you seen Gerald really say anything is when they was in that doctor's office and he's demanding, I want a son. Shamia, you got to get to working on that son and stop twerking on them beds that you claim so dirty and get to working on having that man a son before he have a son somewhere else. That's all I'm saying. So, and then after that, the ladies were talking about, I'm sorry, K Michelle, it was a part where K Michelle was talking about the rooms and all of that. And then Portia mentioned something about Shamia. And then K Michelle said how she loved chocolate women. And it used to be a time in her life where something happened at a certain time of the year and she would go with chocolate women. I don't know. K Michelle just all over the place. But K Michelle is K Michelle. And then Pinky and Kelly, they get into the room and I'm sorry, Kelly goes and knocks on Pinky's door. She get into the room, and then again, Pinky, the energy police, always turning up energy back and forth. And then they're sitting there talking about um what happened today. And she was saying, I guess they were saying how Pinky, I'm sorry, let me back up. Pinky and Kelly are in the room. And Pinky and Kelly are talking about something's wrong with them. I don't know what's going on with these women, but they don't got their lives together. They start talking about these women as though they don't have a good life going on. They don't understand us. They always want to be part of the drama. I don't like having a group of women that have, I don't like being around a group of women that don't have nothing going on. Now, this is what Pinky and Kelly's saying. That's probably what the problem is. I don't like being around people who don't have nothing going on. Pinky likes to insert herself into everybody else's drama, but she's going to say these group of women don't have nothing going on. That's what she said. And then she picks Angela out specifically and say, we worked hard for, Kelly says, well, it's hard for them to understand how hard we had to work to get what we got here. And then they said, Angela ain't had to work like that. Angela worked on her back. She got what she had on her back. And I'm like, the audacity of you guys to say that. So you're going to sit in this room and say that these women did not work hard to get where they was at. You two worked your asses off. They don't understand how hard y'all had to work to get here. Angela got where she was at laying on her back. You have lost your line. First of all, let's look at Phaedra. Phaedra went to a whole law school. Okay? Did nobody hand Phaedra nothing? Phaedra went to law school, mortuary school, got other degrees, whatever she got going on, she worked. Portia. Portia came out of a marriage to that football player, and he left her with nothing, $0. And she reinvented herself. She worked on Dish Nation. She worked on the radio. She got sheets. She got hair. She got endorsements. She worked. And it wasn't on her back. That she did on her own. And she was always, she was part of her grandfather or whatever was a well-known civil rights person in the city. Yes. But Phaedra got divorced with no prenup, and her husband basically gave her nothing, and she worked to get there. So for you to say that is weird to me. We all know K. Michelle went to college, graduate, and worked her butt off to become a singer. We knew Drew from being on TV as a child. She was a child actress. And she worked her way to where she at. Now, what are you talking about? Like stuff was handed to them. Like y'all the only ones that work. And then you're going to say Angela got her back. You don't know what Angela did before she married Charles. But we know Angela's into real estate and she's working now. Y'all need to stop that. Y'all need to, that was wrong and very, very disrespectful for you guys to say about Angela and the rest of them. They don't understand what we had to go to get where we are at. We had to put our work in and work hard. They had to do the same thing. So that was a low blow, and I did not like that at all. I don't know what Shamia did. Shamia got lucky, apparently met her Gerald at a club, went to his house, pooped in his toilet, and became Shamia. That's what she said. If anybody didn't work, it was her. Well, of course, now she sings and do whatever, but that's how she said she got her husband. We heard her say it. So you got your energy pointed at the wrong person who was laying on their back, allegedly trying to get a husband. But I digress. Okay. Um, Cynthia is talking about the energy police, which is Pinky, turns the energy on to everybody else. They said they quit. They can't do it anymore. And they have no need to be around these women. They sick of it. They sick of Pinky. They sick of Kelly, and they sick of Shamia. And I don't blame them because you women have got something going on in your life and y'all deflecting it back to them. You're talking about these women as though they don't have anything going on, but yet you guys got bankruptcies, behind in rent, restaurants closing down, employees not paid. Y'all got all this crap going on. You and Kelly, that's why y'all so ace coon booms now. And y'all deflecting all of that that's going on in your life on them. They're not deflecting on you guys. Portia over there having a ball. Phaedra over there having a ball. Angela them they over there laughing, having a ball. They life's good. Y'all the ones coming there with the negative energy, and y'all got all the crap going on in y'all life. So I think y'all got that all messed up. All right. Then they end with the limo ride. Of course, Shamia comes in there, said, I'm so happy I have to make an announcement. The room's clean. I think she said that because people tired of hearing about that room, and she probably said that to try to gain favor. Like, okay, we don't have to hear about the room no more, or to act like she ain't complaining. But I don't think nobody cared at that point because they tired of hearing that damn room dirty, clean, whatever. Um, and then Cynthia said, they were talking about the experiences. She said, well, how did everything go? And then Portia and them said, we had a ball. Kay Michelle said, we had a ball. They were just so happy. And I think the other ladies was jealous because they wasn't there. But see, you don't like Portia. You know, you don't like Phaedra, but y'all want to be in all the rooms with them and be around them. I don't understand that. If you don't like her, don't come around her. But you over there trying to drain her fun. So what did they do? Cynthia said very nicely, hey, tell me something you learned about the ladies that you did not know prior to, you coming here. Kay Michelle came first thing out of her mouth. She said something polite about Phaedra. I did not know Phaedra was that much fun. I enjoyed being around Phaedra. They didn't like that. Cause see, Pinky didn't want Kay Michelle on their team, on their side. You know? And then the other lady said something positive. I forgot what it was. I forgot, but anyway, each of them was saying something nice about each other, right? And then they get to Shamia, and then they go Shamia. Shamia mentioned something about I don't know, kind of alluding to some of the issues that were going on in the house with the girls. And then hey come Kelly, and Kelly started talking about not being there for each other. And I'm like, Cynthia just said, what are we talking about? Say something about the ladies you learned that you didn't know prior to coming here. So she's talking about the experience here, and Kelly brings up the experience at her opening of Nana Waffles. See what I mean? Kelly loved chaos. That's not what she was talking about. That's not what she was talking about. You know? Um, I go back. Angela said Portia was a key. Portia started laughing about using her hair as a pillow because they were so tired going home. She took the wig off and laid down. And I was like, okay, this is great. But once again, Shamia and Kelly, Shamia over there talking about, I look at my notes again. She brought, talking about well, how does this feel, Kay, over at the swimming pool when you was telling us about not being able to be around a group of girls? And I appreciate you opening that up. Why did you go there? Why did you go to the negative? You couldn't mention nothing positive that happened at y'all lunch today that you learned about Drew, or you learned about Pinky, or you learned about Cynthia. No. You going back to that group over there. You weren't even with that group. I'm just saying. And then Kelly went into the supporting of the opening of her business. And then Angela took a time to throw a dig and say, well, who wasn't there? Angela, you knew who wasn't there. Meanwhile, Portia over there making faces because she already know where this is going. And then once again, it started to start up with Kelly and Portia. Kelly has an end for Portia, and she just wants to continue to talk about Portia. She's in the comments calling her Portia. She's in the comments making stupid remarks about Portia. Just stop. Just stop. So Portia's like, what's going on? She said, well, you're talking about me sleeping with a married man. Kelly, if you didn't do it, why you keep bringing it up? That sounds like guilt. If you said something about me I didn't do, we discussed it, it's over with. I'm not going to keep bringing it up. And she said, that's what you did. You slept with a married man. So they're going back and forth. Who slept with a married man? Who didn't sleep with a married man? And this and that. And then it came down to Portia said, you want me to show you the receipts? Basically, I'll show you. She said, you met this guy on the plane, left the plane without your underwear, took him to your hotel, called the next day wanting to know how I found out because apparently somebody had told Portia I had just F Kelly, somebody she was dealing with. And you trying to find out how Portia know about this. And it was on the weekend of the BET Award. Okay, we got it. So at the end of the day, Portia got the text. A few days later, Kelly trying to clean it up, allegedly. So they going back and forth, this sparring and sparring. And then Portia said, I will tell you who it is. And Phaedra said, wait. Phaedra said that about 10 times. So it must be some truth to this. Because I ain't never seen Phaedra stop a good fight. Phaedra liked some shade. She said, we know this person and we know this person's wife. And I ain't worried about you two heifers, but I'm not trying to hurt that lady. And I said, gotta be some truth to it. Because Phaedra ain't never went that big. So Kelly said something about um Portia sleeping with R. Kelly. And she was like, or she must have read my book, Pursuit of Portia. We all know that. She said, well, R. Kelly was married. Everybody's like, ooh, she put it in her book. What are y'all shocked about? Everybody knows she put that in her book. That is not a thing. It was all over social media. Y'all acting like this is new news to y'all. This is what I mean about the fakeness of it all. And then they start talking about the money. You need to worry about the lien on your house. That's what Kelly said. And I'm like, girl, stop pocket watching people when you ain't got your pockets together. And then Portia said, the lien on my house, you need to worry about the loss of your business, losing your house, and not having a prenup, and your whatever that granny's nana, your business is almost gone. She just went in on Kelly. And then Kelly started going back, calling her this, that, and the third. And that's kind of how it ended. But I'm going to say this. At the end of the day, Kelly and Pinky, for the love of God and everything that is holy, stop talking about other people's money. You talking about Angela and in your tax bracket. What tax bracket you in? Because according to you, you're bankrupt. You got to reorganize your businesses. According to you, Angela laid on her back to get where she at. And it looks like to me, Shamia may have been the one that done that, allegedly. You got it in for Angela, and for some reason, Kelly got it in for Portia because Portia, tell me one thing about Portia, like her or love or hate her, Portia ain't lying. That's one thing Portia ain't gonna do is lie. If she heard it, she gonna tell it. And it may not be true what she heard, but somebody definitely told her that in order for her to repeat it. She been on this show long enough. She a veteran. She know what to say and what not to say. And she know if she say something, it's gonna be fact checked and she gonna have to have receipts. You the one, Kelly, that need to be bringing up some receipts. You the one, Kelly, got some explaining to do. Because one thing Portia, Cynthia, and Drew and Phaedra gonna have is some damn receipts. They've been on the show long enough to know we got to keep receipts. And Angela's catching on too. So stop playing. You and Shamia and Pinky are dead set on hating on Portia and hating on Drew, hating on Portia, hating on Phaedra for no reason. Y'all don't mess with K Michelle. But y'all cannot stand Drew. You can't stand Portia. And you can't stand Phaedra for no reason at all. You talking about Phaedra? I don't like Phaedra because she said I eat meat. That don't even make no sense. You don't like Drew because Drew didn't apologize to you. Okay. Portia said I slept with somebody's husband. Everything that y'all saying is a lie. Phaedra didn't say you ate meat. Your friend over there, Kelly, said it. Drew did say, hey, I apologize to you, but keep your mother out of our business. That was you, Shamia. Shamia didn't want that apology. And I could tell you, if Portia said somebody text her, I can guarantee you Portia got the text message. They've been on the show long enough to know how this whole thing goes. So you guys look bad. That's all I'm saying. Pinky, Kelly, Shamia, y'all need to get it together. Because if I was a betting man, like I said before, odds is one of y'all ain't coming back next season. And two of y'all look like y'all need the money from where I'm standing. That's it. That's it. That's Generation X Nation. That is my review of the Real Housewives. I hope y'all like it. I do mine a little different than some of the other people. But sometimes you got to get down and dirty with these girls. They be just out here doing the most. Now I'm going to go watch the Real Housewives of Rhode Island. I like the show. I may do a review here and there, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't keep up with them women name because they all look alike to me. And I hate to say that because it sounds real bad, but they do. I be like, okay, I think that's Joella, and I think that's Joellen, and I think that's Ruella, and I think Liz. They just all got the same hair color, the same tan. It's it's just weird, but it is a good show. And every now and then I do a 3-minute wrap up on it. But that girl, Kelsey, if you watching that show, Kelsey, I don't know if you was just Kelsey is the ultimate side piece. She gives me Kim, uh, what's her name? Kim from the Real Housewives, Zodiac. She gives me Kim Zodiac because she has what you call it, what was that guy name that Kim called him her boyfriend, the one that passed away, Big Papa. She got a Big Papa, but I don't think Big Papa wants no parts of the Real Housewives. And he basically said, get out my house, I need you out of here. Because you got to remember, you're filming in this guy's mansion. It ain't hard to find out who mansion it is, because the mansion is going to be in somebody's name or some family name. or some company name that's gonna link it back to him. So you should have never got on that show. If you was living that good in that big mansion, that man paying your bills, taking care of you, and you get on this show and just expose him, he ain't trying to do that. And his family, he has a family too and some kids that's probably about your age or young or older. He ain't trying to do that. But he told her, I'll move you out to apartment and I help you pay your bills. That means he's still controlling you, Kelsey. But you'll figure it out later. But with that being said, you guys go and have a great rest of your day. I hope you like my review. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Real Housewives of Atlanta is definitely heating up, and hopefully it'll be a good season. I just can't wait to see how the reunion is going to play out. All right. You guys go and have a great rest of your day. And this is Gen X Nation. As always, peace, and I'm out.